Today's deck profile video, my old school playground Yu-Gi-Oh deck. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going through my deck when I was a kid. Now it's not the exact same printed deck, you know. I've had to get a few cards again, get some better condition cards as well too, because that does happen as we are children. You know, we tend to really beat the hell out of our trading cards. But we're gonna rewind time. We're gonna go back to when Yu-Gi-Oh was on Saturday mornings. You know, we'd see Yugi play some kind of awesome 2-card combo, and we try and reenact it at the school playground during the week. So buckle up, grab some popcorn, and let this wave of nostalgia hit you. So we're going to look back to a time before we knew about banless, limited cards, or really how to make a deck. Alright guys, so here we go. Major disclaimer. Totally did not know what a banless was at this time, and didn't know things were limited or anything like that. So this is going to be quite the overpowered deck for the time that it, you know, was running rampant around the playground at school. So, starting off, I have a copy of Black Luster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Now, of course, back then it was the Invasion of Chaos one, not the one from Magnificent Mavens. But yeah, this card is quite the powerhouse back then. Kind of continued to be a powerhouse anyways throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. But yeah, this was one that definitely won a lot of duels on the playground. So I had one copy of that, followed by its other end of the spectrum, I guess you could say. One copy of Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. Now this card made you feel like a champion if you're playing it back in the old playground Yu-Gi-Oh times. Yeah, dropping this down back in elementary school, whew, baby, that was an effect to end it all. Especially if you had Sangan and another one of his little furry friends around, which clearly I was playing back then. But before that, of course, we're also playing a Dark Magician of Chaos as well too. So we get back all of our powerful spell cards instantly, because that's, you know, how it worked back then. So one copy of Dark Magician of Chaos, followed by a copy of Archfiend of Guilford. Now you see, I always thought he was a cool monster in the anime. Followed with the fact that I had a subscription to Shonen Jump when I was a little kid. I'd get these cool cards and no one else had them, so I felt like I had to play them in my deck. Anytime you get a cool new card, you know, you had to put it in, you had to see how it worked out. So I had one copy of Archfiend of Guilford in there. I think we've all done that as kids. Get a brand new card, you gotta just cram it in there. Kind of like the water, the fire, even like the zombie and dragon structure decks that came out back then. I feel like we tried to tech those boss monsters into our own decks way back when. And of course, one copy of Jinzo as well too, the absolute beater of them all. So one copy of him. One copy of Vampire Lord, kind of like with those structure decks I was just talking about. You know, you have a really cool rare card, so you're going to shove him into your deck. Especially because his effect is actually pretty good to help thin out your opponent's deck. Because it definitely wasn't like how it is today, where, you know, you send stuff from your opponent's deck, they're just going to get an advantage off of it. Moving on, we had our one copy of Sinister Serpent. I knew how good he was back then. Thank you, Yu-Gi-Oh! Eternal Duelist Soul and Worldwide Edition, for showing me how good Sinister Serpent truly was in the video games. So I knew he was good in real life as well. Next we have another majorly banned card, but hey, I didn't know any better at the time, and no one else did on the playground either. But one copy of Fiber Jar just to help restart those duels. Especially if it wasn't really going my way, or I didn't see Chaos Emperor or Black Luster yet. So yeah, one copy of Fiber Jar just to help extend that recess time duel. Next, we got our one copy of Yugioh, who was a huge problem at the time, but hey, we all had our fair share with the Yada at some point in our life. So, I did play one copy of him in there. I did do the old Sangan, Yada, Chaos Emperor combo as well. Because when I was just a wee little boy, I got Yada locked. I said, well, alright then, I guess that's how it goes. So, of course, I got all the cards needed, and I'd bring that to school so people had to feel the pain and suffering that I felt as a child at a card shop when I lost against a guy probably 15 years older than me with these high-end cards. Moving on, we have our DD Warrior Lady and our Exile Force. Two very good removal cards, but yeah, those were ones I played as a kid, so you know what? Pat on the back, little Robbie. You were definitely pretty good for the time. Then, of course, we have the combo of Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest. Just help search out our things a little bit quicker, help get Yada a little bit quicker as well. Or if I was in a bind, get good old Marshmallow. Now, it's not the holographic one from, what was it, like Premium Pack 2 or something. But, yeah, that was one that I was playing. Plus, he was a light, so I figured that was pretty good for Blackluster and Chaos Emperor as well, too. Not only that, he held his own, so you get out Jinzo or Vampire Lord. Next, we have double costume, since he acted as two tributes for a Dark Monster. Because, you know, I'm playing one Dark Monster that needs two tributes, so I need one card for him. The old 1-2 combo for, you know, Playground Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely, yeah, a revolutionary of my time. Next, I have a copy of Obnoxious Celtic Guard. I thought he was super good when I got him in the tin. So, yeah, of course, I had to put him into my deck. Help create a little bit more of a wall, especially you got him and Marshmallow out. Oh yeah, there's another way of getting Dark Magician of Chaos out there. Next, I have a Breaker the Magical Warrior. I knew he was good when I was a kid, but I more so just liked him for his art. I thought he was badass looking, so hey, kudos to you, Breaker, you're in here. Same thing with this next card. There was no rhyme or reason for him to be in here. But Skilled Dark Magician, I think because he was 1900 attack and 1700 defense, this is actually my OG one too, first edition. But yeah, I just thought he looked cool and he had good stats. I feel like maybe at one point when I was like a lot younger, I did play Dark Magician. Who didn't? So that might have been why he kind of just fell into this deck. Because this is a deck I remember the most. It's actually one that I did have typed out at one point as well too. So it's probably why I remember it a little bit better than a lot of my other incarnations. But next, of course, we got Reflect Bounder as well too. Just another good wall. It's so annoying to attack into. I remember my childhood friend had one in his Exodia deck. I hated attacking into it. Looking back at it now, it's like, well, just attack into it, dude. It's just life points. But hey, whatever. I digress. Next, I got Slate Warrior, because I thought he was super cool when I got him from the, was it World Championship? Yeah, World Championship 2004. I think that is a Sacred Cards. So yeah, Slate Warrior is one that I just like, you know what? He's so good in the games. I'm going to put him into my deck. See how he does. You know, this flip effect didn't really gain him too much. Usually it was my opponent losing attack points. But next, me being the fanboy I was of Labyrinth and Nightmare, I had two copies of Gemini Elf, two of the OG Vanilla Beater Girl, 1900 attack. And then followed by two copies of Archfiend Soldier as well, because I thought he was so cool when he came out. It's like, wow, a rare 1900 attack monster? Sure, let's toss him in. So I had two copies of him in there. Moving on to our spells, it's the pretty generic stuff. You know, you had your Pot of Greed, your Graceful Charity, obviously. Followed by your Change of Heart, and then Snatch Steal as well. Following up with the Premature Burial, the Monster Reincarnation, which I always thought was a great card to help get back your Chaos Emperor or your Blackluster Soldier. if they didn't help end the duel already. Then, of course, Monster Reborn, Harpy's Feather Duster, and 1 copy of Raigeki. All the most powerful spell cards at my disposal, because I had no idea about cards like Painful Choice, or Delinquent Duo, or Confiscation, or, any like those actual good cards. It's crazy when you look back at formats, you're like, oh, those cards were good, and I had no idea? Oh, well, go figure. Moving on to the traps, we have a compulsory evacuation device. That was one that I just knew was good when it came out. It's like, wow, I just get to return monsters in my opponent's hand, and I can attack them directly? Neat! Next, we got Call of the Haunted as well. We have our Negate Attack, solid staple. Our Mirror Force. One of my favorites, which I still play to this day as a nice little side deck tech. Magic Cylinder. Very cool, very awesome card. Also, Labyrinth of Nightmare fanboy here, so I had to play it. Followed by our Ring of Destruction. And then a card that makes absolutely 0 sense because I have a bunch of trap cards in here. I played 1 copy of Royal Decree because I had no idea. I thought it was a good card, but it was cool. And it was a Japanese copy that I had back then. Because, yeah, that tournament pack one was really up there in price when we were kids. Playground Yu-Gi-Oh! No one cared about languages. Let's face facts. Especially if you're going against the Darkly Big Rabbi. Alright. So yeah, 1 copy of a Japanese Royal Decree. So there you have it, guys. That is my childhood deck. It's what I grew up playing with. It's one going through. It always gets me right back in the feels because it makes me remember those good times. Not just whooping kids on the playground with Chaos Emperor Dragon and Yada Garasu, but just getting together, all of us buddies, all of us good friends for birthdays, Friday night gatherings, anything, and just playing good old Yu-Gi-Oh! Thinking that we were like Yugi, or Kaiba, or Joey, or even Tristan. Just reenacting that kind of stuff, and yeah, just having that sense of togetherness with friends that you don't get to see quite as often nowadays, or just friendships that just grew apart over the times. And I want you guys to comment down below, what was your childhood deck like? Was it something like this, where you just had no idea what a ban list was, and maybe you bought a Beckett magazine, you saw a top 100 Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and decided to take 40 cards from that and make a Yu-Gi-Oh deck? Because that's what I did when I was a kid. Of course, I never had that morphine jar or needleworm that was in like the top 10, but hey, I digress. But I want you guys to comment down below, or even just your fondest memory growing up with Yu-Gi-Oh! And be sure as well to check out those links down below. Check out rpkgaming.com. Check out a TCG player link as well. We'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye, mwah, and good night.